Hello, it's me.
Hey guys, I'm back. I've been away for a couple of weeks and now I'm back with another episode. We had the previous episode, I'm not interested, yeah. If you've not heard it, I think you're just skipping a beat, which you shouldn't unless you have arrhythmia. So please go check that out. Check all the other episodes as well. It will take some time because now I've been doing this for a while and sometimes these things kind of become a little overwhelming. So without taking much of your time, I'll just straight away get into it. Today's episode of the Funny Podcast is bizarre and it's real because recently I made another trip. Why I'm saying another is because those who have been listening to me for the past couple of months, they know that I have a lot of stories related to trips, and some are very bad, some are very good. Although I never make stories out of the ones which are good, because why would you laugh at my happiness? You want my misery, right? So let's just jump right into it. I have made two trips in the last 1 month. And when I say last 1 month, I mean one of which was very important to me, and the other was me going back home after a year. So let's talk about the former. I went to Mumbai after like 18 years. Yeah. So if any kid was born in 2001 or 2, yeah, you must have understood that now you were of legal age when I came back. Also implying that that kid would not have been mine because I mean, I was a kid. So, yeah. So for me back then, Mumbai meant SL World, Marine Drive, Water Kingdom. And I guess the pause will now become very long because I was a kid and there wasn't anything much uh, for me to explore from Mumbai. Because I was in Odisha back then. And when I say that I was in Odisha, I mean that it's a coastal state. So the beach did not fancy me. I don't remember much of the beach as well. One thing that was forced into me was uh, having my first McDonald's because Odisha did not have McDonald's back then. Bhubaneswar did not have one. So I went to McDonald's for the first time in Andheri in 2002. And another thing that was very much forced into it because I did not want to, I did not even know the relevance of it, was going and seeing Jalsa and whatever is the second name of Amitabh Bachchan's house. My dad was a big Bachchan fan. I mean, is a big Bachchan fan, so he took me, and we saw that, and that was it. We were going to Goa, so it was a layover, and we stayed there for a couple of days. So yeah, but this time when I went on my own for a very special trip. It was a 1 day trip, which means I left at night from Gandhinagar, reached Mumbai in the morning, and the next day, spent the entire day, and the next day in the morning, I took my train back and came back to Gandhinagar. That was all this trip was about. Then why would I go there for a day? I mean, people say there's so much in Mumbai, you should explore. Honestly, not a big fan, so not going to dignify that with examples. Why did I go exactly? I'll just give you one hint. I went there on 2nd of November, and like every other person who knows the significance of 2nd November, I too am what they call an SRK simp. Yes, I went to Mumbai on the 2nd of November for 1 day, made it a hasty trip, but I had only two agendas. Didn't know so much is going to happen within those 24 hours. The two agendas that I had was to see where the king lives. Yup, I went to see Mannat and the crazy crowd that was there outside that day. Even though it was informed that Shah Rukh is not inside the house, people were still there. I'll get to that part later. The second agenda was a more important one because it was on my bucket list for the past, I don't know, 5 to 6 years. Ever since, I started off college, it was like one day I am going to Mumbai for this thing. It was to watch DDLJ at Maratha Mandir. For those who don't know DDLJ, please stop listening to this because I don't give a fuck about what you think anymore. Because it's just the greatest piece of toxicity that I can love. Yup, what I call most of the 90s movies is toxicity that I love. I'm probably going to make an entire episode about it where I'm going to talk about movies which are not so fitting to today's time, but back then nobody made made an argument out of it, and that's why it lasted. And DDLJ, why I say it's the greatest piece of toxicity from the 90s is because it stood the test of time, man. 26 years. 26 years on October 20th, 21st, 21st, 21st. And it's still running. And when I read about it, I've been reading about how Maratha Mandir plays one show a day every single day without fail. Automatically figure out that it's been 26 years, man. I know people are like me, are there, they exist, they are in abundance in Mumbai, so they will be going and watching it, but how many people will go there? And I was surprised there. So I took the train, took an overnight, reached there at 4:30 in the morning, took an auto, went to the hostel. The only thing I knew was it's 4:30 right now. I haven't slept all night because I was so pumped up. I was so excited. I was like crazy excited that yes, tomorrow by this time I would have watched DDLJ and seen Mannat. And in all of this, I am pretty much gonna talk about how amazed I was with Mannat, with DDLJ. I reached at 4:30. I was very tired. I was exhausted. I was exhausted to an extent that I can't even explain because I haven't slept. And by now I am realizing that if I fall asleep at 4:30 in the morning, I'm not going to wake up. That's not happening. So my plan was to just stay up all night. Stay up all night so that I can just reach the theater. I was staying in Bandra, and a lot of new things were discovered by me at that point. So when I say I was staying in Bandra, I got into the hostel, got my bed. I was just lying there, and I was very sleepy. So what was I supposed to do? I had no clue, man. I had no clue what to do. I just kept browsing through my phone. Same thing, refresh, did not work. But I kept up. The hustle was real and the hustle kept on going. That's how dedicated, that's how motivated I was to watch DDLJ, because the show was at 11:30 in the morning. That is their daily regular timing. Now I realized I watched the phone for like a couple of hours. Around 8:30 I opened Google Maps. I saw what is the traffic situation, how much time does it take from Bandra to Maratha Mandir, and realized that okay, this is the time I should leave. Now I got ready. I took a shower, everything. I stepped outside my hostel and I found an auto. Now I went to the auto wala and I said, will you go to Maratha Mandir? He looked at me. He figured that I came out of a hostel, so automatically I understood that yes, ये साला tourist है. इसको घंटा कुछ नहीं पता. He looked at me twice. Then he said, कहाँ? And I said, Maratha Mandir. He gave me one more response before shoving sarcasm, hysteria, irritation and insult all together in my throat. He asked, town में? मैंने बोला, okay, I have a few friends, so I know what town means now. Town basically is South Bombay, where Maratha Mandir is. I said yes. He looked at me and said, भैया साउथ बॉम्बे में ऑटो अलाउड नहीं है. And he said you have to take a taxi, a cab, either book an Ola or an Uber, or take a black and yellow, a Kali Pili taxi. So that time there were no Kali Pilis in my sight. Ola and Uber were showing a lot of waiting because obviously it's Mumbai, it's traffic. So with Kali Pili, my entire understanding was that I have to run and find one taxi that's gonna say that yes, I'm gonna go to Maratha Mandir. So yeah, I struggled for like 10-20 minutes. Realized that if I would have booked an Uber, the Uber would have been here by now. Found a Kali Pili. He said okay. I sat down. As any other Delhiite, I would have asked him kitna. He said भैया यहाँ पे मीटर से चलता है. I was like oh ये चलता भी है. So he's like okay चलो. I sat down, मीटर से चल रहे हैं हम लोग. I asked him कितना टाइम लगेगा वैसे. बोलता है कि अभी 10 पार हो चुका है तो घंटा भर समझ लो. And I was fucked because I knew that the movie starts at 11:30. I had to take a ticket and then get seated. That is my perception. I went in. I reached the movie theater at 11:45. By that time, I was so fucked that I realized कि टिकट खरीदने का टाइम नहीं है. Let's go to book my show and book it. Online 35 रुपए की टिकट बुक की. And I just went ahead. I reached Maratha Mandir. I just went to the guard. The gate was shut. So I said, I have a ticket. He's like, ticket नहीं, वैक्सीनेशन सर्टिफिकेट दिखा चुती है. 35 रुपए की टिकट तो सबके पास है. So yep, I showed him my vaccination certificate. Got a little more late. Entered the theater by approximately 11:55. Now the funny thing is that in Mumbai they play a lot of ads and trailers before they start the movie. And the best thing that could have happened, I reached the theater. I got my seat, and before I could get to my seat, I saw through the stairs when I climbed up. Amrish Puri had not closed his umbrella, which means that the movie had just begun. I was fucking happy that yes, thank God these people play trailers. Now the movie start off. I started watching it, but one more thing that I realized is that the movie theater after 26 years was not empty. It was loaded with people. Loaded with people in a way that there was a balcony. There's this front row that is called the dress circle, and under that is the stall. From stall till balcony, everything was packed. People came in. And DDLJ is this movie which is full of music from time to time. So I was watching this movie, but I could not focus in the movie because I was starstruck that I'm watching Shah Rukh Khan on the big screen after a very long time. Especially in this particular movie, which is very close to me because DDLJ was the first movie that I saw in the theater. I mean, I don't have any recollection of it. I don't remember a shit about it because I was only a couple of months old, but I did watch it. But the starstruck part was not the reason why I was distracted. The reason why I was distracted is because every time a song came up, people in the balcony went crazy and they started dancing. They were dancing to every single song. It was a full-on carnival. 2nd November was being celebrated the way it was supposed to be. I watched 3 hours of the movie without getting bored for even a second. People enjoyed, people were yelling, they were screaming, they were whistling. Things that used to happen way back, I was reliving them again. Now, this is why I took an all-nighter to reach Mumbai and watch that movie. Around 2:30 to 3, I came out of the theater, and like every other person who came out along with me was completely satisfied. Completely satisfied with the experience. It was brilliant. It was marvelous. The next thing I had to do was to visit a friend. Going back all the way to Bandra. So I booked another Kali Pili, this time through Uber, because apparently Uber has Kali Pili and Uber has its own cab. But Kali Pili on Uber is cheaper than its own cab on, like, all Uber's own cab on the app. So I booked it, went all the way to Bandra Kurla complex, met a friend, had some lunch, came back to my hostel to meet another friend, because this is when I knew that during the day it is going to be fully packed. It's going to be a havoc there. So I did not plan on going and visiting Mannat in the day. I went there in the evening. I reached Mannat, met a friend. I saw the house. It's beautiful, man. I mean, it's Mannat. If you just watch, or if you just see the gate of that house, your heart skips a beat. It does. It skips a beat, and it did mine as well. I mean, the auto crossed Mannat, and my heart skipped a beat. There was a lot of crowd, so I asked the auto wala to just, भैया थोड़ा आगे लगा देना ताकि मैं उतर सकूं, जगह हो थोड़ी. So I crossed it. I reached there. Now the thing is, there was so much crowd there, despite the police saying that he's not in here. Why are you standing? And what the crowd was doing was spectacular, because every time a white rich person's car would cross through that road, the crowd ran behind it. I'm saying any car, man, anything which is not within the range of 20 lakhs, people started running behind it. And then police started running behind them, hitting them. So I walked back, had a glimpse of Mannat again skipped a beat. And then me and my friend, we walked a little bit, had dinner. I came back and I landed on the bed, but I could not sleep because I had the day I wanted for the last, I don't know how many years. Of course, then I took the train the next morning, tried to do something sketchy, got caught by the cops, paid a 3,000 rupee fine, and came back to Gandhinagar to live my mundane life as it is, just so that today I can record this and tell you guys that I had the day of my life. It is not my wedding. It was watching DDLJ at Maratha Mandir and seeing Mannat. And also, I forgot to tell you, the next morning before going to the station, I asked the auto wala, because it was completely on the route. I asked the auto wala, can you just go around Mannat once again in the day and then drop me off at the railway station? He said, okay, it's going by the meter. I don't give a fuck. He took me there and I saw it again in broad daylight. It was again a heart skips a beat moment. And when he dropped me off, the one thing that was there as a constant in 2002, which was again a constant here in 2021, is the sea, the beach. Now, at night, it was low tide, water was behind, so it was fine. But in the morning, the smell of dead fish stank the entire Marine Drive. And I could not just, forget that smell because it was so pungent. And then I remembered that in 2002 also, the smell was just as bad. So now you realize why I'm not such a big fan of Mumbai in general, because our beaches in Odisha don't smell. So that was all about today's episode. I mean, I hope you found it a little bizarre because, come on, this is an expensive one, man. I paid a 3,000 rupee fine, which was probably a bribe, and escaped. So if you liked it, please let me know. Ping me up on Instagram, leave a comment, follow me, whatever you can do. I'll probably sometime even put my email ID so that you can get in touch. I am so much craving for attention right now. So take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll be back soon. Thank you so much, and bye-bye.